1 week ago, I spoke on the recent Commander bans and the controversy surrounding them. The bans were announced that prior Monday, and as I am wont to do, I spent the week thinking about what happened, listening to others, and then composed my thoughts into a detailed and scripted video. And then, the following Monday, Wizards of the Coast announced that it would be taking over the Commander format, and that both the Rules Committee, which had been the stewards of Commander for nearly 20 years, as well as the Commander Advisory Group, were essentially disbanding and ceding control of Commander to Wizards of the Coast. So that is a lot, and I have thoughts. Only nothing too concrete has actually happened yet. The next day, Wizards of the Coast held a live stream in which Gavin Verhey and Aaron Forsyth discussed their plans regarding Commander. Everything from how they plan to still have community involvement to a new bracket system that will essentially help players more accurately categorize the power level of their deck. Again, this is a lot, and I have thoughts, but since all of these details are still very much in the planning stages, I did not feel that a written analysis was a proper response. After all, we don't actually know the full details of how Wizards of the Coast plans to work with the community to guide the format, nor even the nitty-gritty of the bracket system. Everything they discussed was still in the planning stages. So since we were given an unscripted conversation about the larger plans and philosophies that will unfold in the coming weeks and months, I feel the best response is the same, an unscripted conversation where I offer my unfiltered thoughts and concerns. This part is scripted, by the way, but it's about to not be. This is also when I normally would open a collector booster box of Duskmourn, and we could all laugh as the professor guesses prices and gets almost all of them wrong while chatting freely about everything from Magic story to the benefits of therapy and self-care. So we're going to combine the two. I am going to open these booster packs and guess a few prices, but mostly offer my thoughts on all that has gone down in Commander. And I of course want to stress that what I am about to say is indeed unscripted, and thus should be treated as nothing more than casual, off-the-cuff thoughts and reactions. Don't hold me to anything I am about to say. For example, I may express skepticism about the bracket system. Okay, I am about to express skepticism about the bracket system, but maybe once the full details are released and I've actually been able to try the new system for a while, I'll come out and say, yay, bracket system. This is great. Who knows? I will also be giving away 25 copies of The One Ring next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. That's right, not only was this supposed to be a normal collector booster box opening video, but I was supposed to promote my big 1 million subscriber celebration stream on Whatnot. So I guess I'll do that now. Whatnot, sponsor of this video, wanted to go big to celebrate Tolarian Community College hitting 1 million subscribers, so they suggested I give away 25 Jeweled Lotuses. I'm not joking, that was their original pitch. After explaining to them why that may not be the best choice right now, I suggested instead the other big expensive card that goes in everyone's deck, the One Ring. We're giving away 25 of them. You can even play it in Modern. You need it. You need the One Ring in every format that it is legal in, and it'll never ever get banned. Why? Because Wizards of the Coast is in charge of which cards get banned, and they're not gonna ban this. Oh, crap. But now they're in charge of Commander. I have thoughts, but first, I gotta shill. Shill so that I can give you 25 of the One Ring. Whatnot is just like if Twitch and eBay had a baby. People can stream items that they have for sale, list them as either live auctions or buy it now prices in their store. There's not only tons of awesome Magic products, cards, accessories, but many, many other categories of collectibles. Right now, if you create a new account using my invite code, you'll get $15 in credit to spend anywhere on Whatnot for anything. I even have cool things in my Whatnot store, from Magic cards to signed playmats and signed academic deck boxes. So go to www.whatnot.com/Tolarian College and get a $15 credit to spend on anything on Whatnot. Then tune in this Tuesday, October 8th at 3 p.m. Pacific, and maybe, just maybe, I'll give you a One Ring. I'm giving away 25 of them. I have some other things from my own collection I want to give away as well. The rings are from Whatnot, but I have some things too. For you, from me. and whatnot. So just go to www.whatnot.com/invite/Tolarian College for that $15 credit. Hey, $15 for magic stuff is $15 for magic stuff is $15 for magic stuff, and the One Ring is never, ever gonna get banned. So come get one for free, maybe? Thank you, Whatnot, for sponsoring this video, and for giving us 25 One Rings to give away. All right, here we go. Now, I'm gonna mostly be talking off the cuff about what happened in Commander, but I would like to guess prices for the first pack, and then maybe what I'll do is to let me have a normal rate of speech, just guess what I think the overall pack price was. Something like that. We'll see how we go. We're keeping it casual. And again, because nothing really concrete was said in Monday's or Tuesday's stream, I don't feel that I can really do anything but respond in kind, which is casual conversation about a philosophy that is planned, and I will respond with my response, with my reactions. Oh boy, already unscripted. Here we go. But for this first pack, let's guess some prices. Now we've got the commons in front, and we won't be showing the prices on commons for any pack except this one, because I want to show that this Rip Chain Razorkin is worth 13 cents. That's right. And this Affage Amalgam is worth 13 cents. That's right. And this Twist Reality is worth 13. It's not worth anything. Used to be a time when like even a foil common had some weight to it. 13 cents. I think they're all 13 cents. Show me one of these that's not 13 cents. But now we're going to move on to what I think are the uncommons. Boy, that's set symbol. That's all right. That's an uncommon. 25 cents, right? There's like one of these that's like a $5 card probably, and I'm not thinking of it at the moment. Everyone will let me know in the comments. Maybe it's this one. This one's $5. No. This one's $5. What is this? Just like... There's nothing. So far, this is just like a booster pack. So everything leading up to the full art foil this is just a booster pack in foil. I mean, that's good. It's all in foil. All right. Y'all know by now my feelings on full art lands. Yes, editor, you need to show them all for each of the 12 packs. I think they should be worth like $5. It's probably less than $2. Am I correct? Yes, I am. That's really funny if I'm not. Come back wrong. Rare foil. I'm going to say that's $2.13. Zimone's Hypothesis. Extended art, but not foil. I'm going to say that is probably it's a $3 card. Leyline of Mutation, not the Leyline of the Value. Oh, by the way, so there are these special broken shard foil treatments that are worth a lot. I've never actually seen one in person. Hopefully I recognize them if I hit them, and then we'll see if there's some money. There is also, this is $1, right? This is $1. All right. We've got a, I guess, showcase version of Restricted Office Lecture Hall. Meh. This is $2. Valgavoth's Onslaught. That's cool. Now, that is not any special etched thing. Wow, what a disappointing pack. I don't think this is anything. I think this is at best. It's all right. $5 card. Show me a $5 card. So what is this? Like a... Right now, my guess for the pack is $7.50, right? And that doesn't count. You're not adding, editor, the commons and uncommons and stuff, unless they were 2 and up. We always do 2 and up, but... that's $7.50. There was no money in that. All right, I'm going to guess per pack going forward, because what I want to talk about is the Commander situation, which is why you've all tuned in here today, not to watch how out of touch I am on prices. I think the Commander situation is lose-lose. I think that Wizards of the Coast did need to do what they did in taking over the format, but I don't think it's a good thing. And I understand that there is a certain contradiction to that. Editor, you don't need to do commons and uncommons, just the full art land and what's after it. I do think there's a contradiction to my saying, yes, they needed to take over the format, but no, I don't think it's a good thing. But yes, they needed to take over the format. No, I don't think it's a good thing. It's lose-lose. Them not taking over the format would not have been a good thing given the situation. Things had spiraled to a point. Jim released a statement. Olivia released... They couldn't... This thing imploded. And Wizards had to step in for safety reasons. If nothing else, there might be something else. So it's lose-lose. And the reason why I'm going to call it lose-lose is I defy you. Well, okay, I don't defy you. Listen, I'm not a defy guy. I'm a challenge guy. I challenge you. I like to challenge you. I don't defy you. I challenge you to name to me in the comments one thing, realistically, that Wizards of the Coast can do by being in charge of the Commander ban list. And that's really all essentially this is. All the other little aspects are not major things. It's basically the RC was in charge of what is banned. Now WotC is in charge of what is banned. So I challenge you to tell me what Wizards of the Coast can now do that the RC could not do in terms of banning cards. Because I know something the RC can do that Wizards of the Coast cannot do in terms of banning cards, and that is to ban Jeweled Lotus. Because as I joked about with my giveaway for the 25 1 rings, Wizards of the Coast is never going to ban, unless it becomes just untenable to an epic proportion, the 1 ring. Because it was the showcase feature chase card of their, neat treatments, of their format. That is pretty hard. All right, get a guess the price on this. Is this like a $3 card? $3.50? All right. I couldn't resist. It looked cool. And they're not going to do it. And the RC, even though I disagree with Jeweled Lotus being banned, ooh, cool. Even though I disagree with Jeweled Lotus being banned, Wizards of the Coast would not, because they are profit-driven. And they are a corporation that must put profits first. I trust Gavin, who is, it sounds like, in a leadership role. I don't know that he's literally in charge of Commander. In fact, I know he's not, but he is definitely leading the governance that Wizards is establishing, which will be incorporating player concerns and players possibly akin to CAG members and RC members to have a seat at the table. And I trust Gavin. Gavin will do what is best for Commander and all that he can do. Gavin is, and as are many of the other forward-facing people at Wizards of the Coast. If you know the name and face of someone at Wizards of the Coast, we call that forward-facing, that is most likely someone that has Magic's best interests at heart, even if you don't always agree with them. The problem isn't Gavin. The problem is Gavin's boss, or even Gavin's boss's boss's boss. Some shadowy executive whose name is unknown to anyone, and who is going to step in and say, no, or yes, you're doing that because that'll make us the money, or no, you're not doing that because that would be bad for business. And they're going to be the ones with final say, and they're going to be behind the sad announcements that might come from Gavin, where you go, what are you thinking? And that is my issue with this, is that even though the Rules Committee screwed up in their handling of this, if nothing else, because I also think there's a fair argument to be made, if you watch my video, for Jeweled Lotus being banned being better for Commander. Certainly in isolation of all other factors, I think it is. I agree with Jeweled Lotus being banned in isolation. I don't think it should have been banned here, and I don't like how they went about it. Again, I talked about all that already. Coast Vacuum. Oh, here we are. Look, there we go. It's a Luigi's Mansion. I mean, Magic the Gathering. I mean, Ghostbusters. Oh, God. Sorry. We're being cynical about other things. I'm not being cynical. I'm just being realistic that a corporation's ultimate goal is to make money. A corporation will always put profit first, and the Rules Committee did not put profit first because the Rules Committee was non-profit. They were volunteers, and if you want to start that nonsense, and I think it's absolute nonsense, of saying, is this one of the special? This is not special foil. I'm going to guess, come on, $10. That nonsense that like, oh, they were in the pocket of Wizards. Yeah, well, they banned Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt, which was kind of like a slap in the face of Wizards. It's destroying Wizards, reprint equity of feature cards, if nothing else. It's very bad for business, and they did it anyway because they felt, however much you might disagree with them, they felt this is the best thing for Commander. And so they did it. And that is against all corporate greed that they would ban Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt. And now that will never happen. If Wizards unbans them and then ends up putting a product out in a matter of weeks or months that has one of them featured in it, like some master set or special card that has a Mana Crypt or something, then you will see that Wizards was really more interested. I hate everything about this card. I hate it. I want to tear it up, and I don't tear up Magic cards, and I won't tear this one up, but I hate everything about this card. Calm Blue Ocean, Calm Blue Ocean. Then you will go, oh my God, Wizards is stepped in because it's all about the bottom line. Well, of course it is. So, I feel it's lose. And yet I do, despite it all, feel they had to step in for safety concerns. And I don't want to get into this any more than I had in my previous video. As you know, I am very dear friends with Olivia and Jim. And, I met Scott Larrabee once. I don't know the rest of the RC that well. I know most of the CAG very well, dear friends. The death threats were beyond what you can imagine. It wasn't just online harassment. It was real life safety concerns. And I'm not going to say any more on that. And it was of an extreme nature. I've been doxxed. I've gotten phone calls. I've had a voice on the other end of that phone threaten my family. I've filed police reports. I went through that. It was hell. Hell. And what I know to have happened this last couple weeks is beyond what I experienced 100-fold. 100-fold. And I won't speak any more on it. Wizards had to step in for safety reasons, if nothing else. And so that's that. So it's lose-lose. They had to do it. I'm not happy that they did it. I would have preferred the rules committee to work on bettering themselves, improving themselves. I had many ideas about things they could do to expand, grow, make better decisions, signal better, but I wanted them to be the ones doing it. I don't think you make a big mess up and then you lose everything. And had there not been the safety issues, I would definitely be sitting here saying this is outrageous. But those trump everything else. Everything else, because nothing is more important. So the other thing that they announced was this, I haven't been guessing prices on the packs, I don't care, was this bracket system. Marvin, the Murderous Mimic. How much is Marvin, the Murderous Mimic? Marvin's got to be a $9 card, right? It's foil, it's this cool art. That's $9, right? Cool art on the insect. I like a lot about Duskmourn, but I hate that cheerleader card for so many reasons. And I could spend the whole video talking about why I hate that cheerleader card. It makes no sense. It's so immersion breaking. It's just, I cannot believe that's a card. Anyway, in addition to the fact that Wizards is in charge, they talked about their bracket system. If you're not familiar with this bracket system, I'm going to give you a very brief, very broad retelling of it, but I encourage you to both watch their actual live stream and to read about it on any of the many detailed posts, because it's a lot to digest. It is in the planning stages. They showed slides, and those slides were with the warning, we are just planning things and we really want to hear from you. So that's another reason I can't do a scripted video, because what am I going to do? A detailed analysis of stuff that is ethereal? But we did get the gist of the bracket system, and that's what I'll comment on now. The gist of the bracket system is this. Some cards, not all cards, will be considered a bracket 1, bracket 2, bracket 3, or bracket 4 card. Bracket 1, I believe, being essentially pre-con decks, and bracket 4 being CEDH, with brackets 3 and 4, with brackets 2 and 3 being the equivalent of my deck is a 7 or my deck is an 8 or something like that. Somewhere, some little middle ground. If you have even one card, that's awesome art. Even one card that is a bracket 3 card in your deck, your deck is a bracket 3 deck unless you have a bracket 4 card in it, in which case your deck is a bracket 4 card. So one card makes the deck bracket 4. So if you have one CEDH card, like let's just say, I forget some of the examples. I think they said Vampiric Tutor. Don't quote me on that. I'm talking off the cuff, but just assume they said Vampiric Tutor is going to be bracket 4. So if you have a Vampiric Tutor in your deck, that means your deck is bracket 4, even if the rest of the deck is crap and or silly or whatever, how I like to build them. If the rest of the deck is like how Prof likes to build them, but you also throw in a Vampiric Tutor, then your deck is a CEDH deck. What this does is this essentially bans Vampiric Tutor from the other formats. So while we're going to talk highfalutin about we don't want to ban cards, any card that is a CEDH tier card and not another tier, any card that is exclusively a bracket 4 card, if I am thinking of this correctly, means that that card is banned, save for Rule 0 talk, in all other decks. So there's going to be CEDH bans of that's a CEDH card, you're not allowed to play with it. Unless you talk to your playgroup about it, and we all know how well that goes. I don't like this. I think part of the fun of Commander is you open up a booster pack and you go, oh, look, I just got the Lord of Pain. I gotta put this in my deck. It's like, no, that's a bracket 4 card. Your jank deck is now bracket 4. All right. That sucks. And I also want to just talk about the complexity of it. I want you to imagine that you are a new Magic the Gathering player or new to Commander, and you say, hey, Prof, what's this Commander format? I hear it's the most fun way to play Magic the Gathering. I say to you, yeah, it is. Here's what Commander is. Choose a legendary creature that you think is cool. Choose some other cards that you think are cool. Build a 100-card deck with those cool cards. Awesome! Now, what you need to do is go through those 100 cards and see which ones are bracket cards. Some of them are bracket cards. You must identify the bracket cards and identify if they are bracket 1, bracket 2, bracket 3, bracket 4, bracket 5. No, there's just bracket 4. Sorry, I started counting. Or bracket 4. That is cool art, I will admit that. $8. $8. Show me $8. Not a fractured one. Show me $4.50. Now, if any cards in your deck, now that you've identified all the bracket cards, if any cards in your deck, whatever card is the highest bracket, that is the bracket of your deck. So you need to sit at your LGS and say, I'm a bracket 3 because I had one bracket 3 card in your deck, or you can take that card out of your deck and replace it with something else. That is just terrible. In my opinion, Commander needs the opposite of this brackets system. Commander needs fewer bans and more conversation with your playgroup. Commander needs fewer bans and fewer restrictions and more emphasis on player responsibility to build decks that they and the other people that they are playing with will be able to enjoy. You need to be able to use judgment and say, you know what? I'm not going to Vampiric Tutor for Darkest Hour to slam in for my combo win on turn 2, because then I don't get to play. So I'm not going to put that in the deck. So I'm going to leave Vampiric Tutor out, and if I pull up Darkest Hour, then I pull it up. But that's your judgment. And I think Commander works best with the least restriction and the biggest emphasis on deck builder prerogative. And you need to just not get as mad if you sit down to play with new people and someone has a cheese deck and you go, okay, well, that happens sometimes. You know, I had many times playing casually, even before my YouTube channel, where someone had a deck that I thought this is not fun. And I very respectfully said so. I said, you know, I don't really want to play against that deck again. Here's why. And they heard me. And they adjusted, and I did the same. I had a Leovold Emissary of Trest deck, and I was like, I don't want to play this anymore. This isn't fun for anyone. I don't think you can force fun, and I don't think you can codify proper social behavior. I think instead, you need to lean more into the social element. Ooh, okay. All right, there's a big one. I'm gonna finish my thought. Lean more into the social element of Commander. Trust deck builders. That is also the fun. Telling me I can't run the Vampiric Tutor because it's bracket 4 and I don't want to play CEDH is not fun. Oh, but wait, Professor. You can sit down and tell your playgroup, but this is essentially a bracket 1 deck. I just have a Vampiric Tutor in it. Well, that's called a Rule 0 conversation. What do we need the brackets for? Anyway, $2 for the Dazzling Theater, and now, boom! Oh my God, it's gorgeous. I don't know what it is. What card is it? I don't know, but I love it, and I've only had it for a few seconds, and I love it. It's foil, it's Japanese, it's so cool. It's $50. Show me $50. Boom, $50 card. I know it. I know it in my heart. I just got a $50 card. And at this point in the video, we're halfway through. At this point in the video, we are at $150, which is where we're at. Show that all to me. Oh man, look at that. So cool. Oh, by the way, speaking of Jeweled Lotus being banned and the One Ring never being banned, you know what else we found out from the stream will never be banned? Sol Ring. Sol Ring, despite being the most powerful or one of the most powerful cards in Commander, and definitely not good for the format, in a bubble, and I don't think it should be banned. I know I jokingly say it should be banned. That was a joke. That's why I also say, and the Moxes should be unbanned, and a laugh track plays and a fart noise. But Sol Ring, they are admitting this card defies all of our rules. This card is busted, doesn't comply, but we're gonna leave it. It's in every precon. It's just part of Commander. So since Sol Ring can never be banned, would you like a Sol Ring signed by me, the Professor? That is the signed card on Patreon for the month of October. All new patrons at the signed card level will get a Sol Ring signed by me. If you support at the signed card level, go to www.patreon.com/Flaring Community College. Patreon's an important part of it, keeps us going and growing strong. And as my way of saying thanks, I'll send you a random art. I have several different arts of Sol Ring signed by me. As my way of saying thanks. And speaking of rings, I'm also giving away 25 the One Rings on my Whatnot stream this Tuesday. So if you want to hang out and maybe get a free One Ring, I'm giving away 25 of them. All right. So those are my issues. Those are my issues with the bracket system. Is I just don't think it's going to work. I just don't think it's going to work. And it's going to start to get cumbersome. And it's going to start to keep you from being able to play cards. Imagine you're playing a game and you didn't even realize Vampiric Tutor is I keep wanting to say Shap 4. What is this? Move Along Home on Deep Space Nine? Alamarain! Shap 4, a bracket 4. Shap 2. A bracket 4 deck. And maybe you don't realize that Vampiric Tutor is on that bracket list. So you're just playing and you play a Vampiric Tutor, and in the middle of this game, everybody else who has bracket 2 decks goes, "What the F? What are you doing?" And you go, "I don't know, this is just some dumb deck. It's my Kithkin deck." And it's just jank and silly. Oh, but it's got why would a Kithkin deck have a Vampiric Tutor? Don't scrutinize the example. You get the spirit of what I'm saying, though, right? You get the spirit of it. That's going to be fun in the middle of the game, everyone being like, "Whoa, you should have told us, blah, blah, blah." Wow, it's a mythic room. A mythic room's got to be worth $5, right? Show me $5. I'm sure that was. It's foil and everything. So there's a lot of problems. I think that when Magic players do try and, codify everything, it can work really well in 60-card competitive formats, but it doesn't work very well in Commander. Hey, the Jolly Balloon Man, one of my favorite commanders. We did a $45 deck. I don't know, would you take a look, please, at our Jolly Balloon Man deck tech and let me know in the comments if you feel this is a bracket 1 deck? Because it's supposed to be a precon. So look at what we included and say, is there anything in there that you think it's $45 that is not bracket 1? Because if there is stuff in there that is not bracket 1, Leyline of the Void, if there is stuff in there that is not bracket 1, but we built it for $45, what? Like, it's just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. A recipe for disaster. And it's going to become cumbersome. It's going to need a lot of monitoring. There are so many Magic cards. We're going to need a lot of app support. I mean, I guess everybody's on Archidekt and Moxfield and Scryfall and stuff, so the tech's there, but I don't know. Let me ask you this question. Do you think a Canadian Highlander points system might have been a better choice to just say, hey, if you want to run Jeweled Lotus, that's 7 points and you get 10 points in your deck. And then anybody can run Jeweled Lotus, but you got to look at your point cards. And then that's a way to say, yeah, Demonic Consultation and Thassa's Oracle, if you run the two of them, those are your 10 points, you know? And there you go. And no, you don't get the other, I don't know. Or there should have been a points list for CEDH. Should CEDH have its own ban list at this point? I think it probably should have. That might have been the other solution. I know they don't want it, and I have friends in the format. I don't play it personally. I understand and respect that, but it just feels like a lot of this also is the pain and trouble of there not being a separate ban list. I don't know about that. This is why it's casual. I would never say that in a scripted video. I'm just talking about the thoughts that go through my head. And the thought is, would a lot of this been avoided if we just had a separate ban list for CEDH? And its own rules committee of people that the CEDH community trusts, you know? Because now, guess what, CEDH community? You got wizards. Do you trust them? You know what I trust about wizards? They don't like proxies. They don't like proxies. You know who likes proxies? Well, a lot of CEDH decks like a couple. You can have a proxy in a CEDH deck as a treat. I think you're going to find that selling out to the corporate overlords is probably not better than 5 community members you can trust. It should have been more. I would have liked to have seen the CAG basically integrated into the rules committee. I don't know that everybody on that CAG is, would want that. But the general idea of, well, why have a CAG and a rules committee? Why not just have one group and that group be expanded where it's not 5 unpaid volunteers, but if you bring the rules committee onto the CAG onto the rules committee, then you've got a larger body of people from all these different backgrounds of Magic, where you've got a CEDH person, a casual person, a highly enfranchised content creator, a pro, all this stuff, and you've got the great insight. And when that many different people all agree on something, maybe they're up to, they got a good idea. I don't know, The community sure was awful to them, even before the fact that, I want everybody to think back to the previous Commander rules update where they said no changes and all hell broke loose. Another Mythic room. Show me $5. And then, look at that. Oh my God. Oh, it's K2 Bane of Nightmares. Is this the special fracture foil? It looks kind of cool. I don't know if that's the fracture foil, though. Editor will be telling me if that's the fracture foil. Doesn't look that different. It looks like kind of those black Magic cards from Comic-Con, except I can read it. Looks cool. I dig it. Show me $50. That's just my go-to number, for a big card, I guess. Is this a $50 card? And the editor says, no, probably not. But I think it is. I don't know. If it's the fractured one, I know all those fractured ones were big money, but I didn't know which ones I've not seen it. I still think, man, this is beautiful. Look at that. That's so cool. All right, we've got 2 packs left. Did we get to the $240 required? I'd say we are at 100. Well, no, 200. I'd say we're at $200. So we need to get $40 in these last 2 packs by my prof math. So yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know. Commander was run by the community for nearly 20 years. Probably 20 years because the early days before the RC was completely official, it was still, community driven. So we have 20 years and you only have to lose once. My wife says that about conservation efforts, like you're trying to save a rainforest or a wildlife refuge and somebody wants to tear it down. She says, well, here's the bad thing about conservationism. You only have to lose once because there's no going back to the old growth forest after you lost once. And we lost once. It's lose-lose and there's no going back. Now, they have the Pauper format panel, which Gavin, by the way, runs. And as a Pauper player, I love it. I love the Pauper format panel. It's been good for Pauper. Even some of the crankiest Pauper people seem to agree with me. And they banned the first thing that damn panel did, of whom many of my dear friends are on. The first thing they did was ban my favorite Pauper card and ruin my favorite Pauper deck. And I still think that it's good we have them. Because they did the right thing. They said that card needed to go. Maybe they could have banned other cards, but there's another discussion. Okay. So this is going to be something similar to that in Commander, likely where there's a group of people that Gavin meets with. There's that ghost vacuum again. And here's thoughts, but ultimately WotC's going to be making the call. And I think for a while it'll be okay. How do I feel about them maybe unbanning Jeweled Lotus? If I said that I don't think it should have been banned, am I in favor of being unbanned? No, I'm not. I don't think that's fair to people who sold their Jeweled Lotus for $50 after they heard it was banned. And quite frankly, I don't think that people who send in death threats should win. And I think that if Wizards of the Coast is going to say, okay, wow, a lot of death threats coming in. We're going to take over Commander and we're going to unban the cards that everybody who's angry about and sending in death threats. We're going to make sure they win, and that the violence won, and that the threats of violence won. Again, I at the very least, I would hate it if 2 weeks from today, Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt are unbanned. I even if they need to be unbanned at a certain point, which I don't know that they need to, I would have liked to see what happens with the format with these cards out of it. I'd like to see Gavin uphold it. I don't know. It's just lose-lose. And yet, then you say, but wait, Prof, what about all of us who were really hurt by Jeweled Lotus's banning and Mana Crypt's banning that didn't send in death threats, that love Olivia and Jim and everybody on the RC and the CAG and just really believe that. So now we suffer because, a loudmouth a-hole of a person, you don't even have to bleep that, I don't care, did these awful things. Ooh, that's pretty token to end on. I don't know. It's lose-lose is my off-the-cuff thing is this isn't good, but it had to happen. And if they unban Jeweled Lotus, this isn't good, but it had to happen. And if they leave Jeweled Lotus banned, this isn't good, but it had to happen. And they're not going to ban the One Ring, so you can tune in, and I'm giving away 25 of them. Final guess. I think we made it. So this was $240. Yeah, I'm going to say I didn't do exact prices, so I'm just going to say this is $240 or more for this. Probably right around $240 is my guess that we got our money. That's what I think. Show me $240 or more? No, we did not get there, but that is kind of a good thing because it means that there's never been a better time to get into Standard and go play at Friday Night Magic or your local game store's championship event. If you want to see the regular booster box game where I open up play booster boxes and use the funds to buy additional boxes, that video is live here and you can go check it out. And remember that I'm giving away 25 copies of the One Ring, 25 copies of it, as well as many other awesome things on my 1 million subscriber celebration stream this Tuesday, October 8th on Whatnot. Just tune in at 3 p.m. Pacific and you might walk away with one of 25 One Rings. And if you create a new account using my invite code, then you get $15 in credit to spend on whatever you want on Whatnot. So thank you, Whatnot, for sponsoring this video and for giving me 25 One Rings to give away to my viewers. See you on Tuesday.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, we are janking each other off. This is a jank off. The criteria, which I hope we all followed this time. No card in the deck can be more than $1, including your commander.
I think this is a ruse.
Don't use big words around me, sir.
It's got 4 letters, it's more than 3.
Right.
Florida math.
Judge, this card costs more than $1.
I'm not gonna let a whole table sass me.
What are you doing? I'm not done. What are you doing there, Jared?
It's my nervous tick when I drop from 4 40 to 11 in one turn cycle.
So we're gonna move to combat. I'm not
Just
that
tell
type
me
of
how
guy,
much damage.
but I'm gonna hit
Just-
this man in the
just
face.
tell me how
so
much
we're gonna go to
damage.
combat.
I'm gonna roll with absolute cruelty. I mean, I'm the
Oh,
one.
just like back home.
Wow.